Hi, hello. Today we are going to discuss about typical sketches of polar plot. First, let us consider a transfer function g of s into h of s is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus st. Here, let me take a pen. So here, what is the first step we will do is, we will consider s is equal to j omega. If we substitute s equal to j omega, transfer function will be g of j omega into h of j omega, which is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus j omega into t. For a magnitude plot, we can consider as m is equal to 1 divided by square root of real square plus imaginary square, which is equal to 1 divided by square root of 1 plus j omega t. Also, phi is equal to minus tan inverse of imaginary divided by real. So this is our magnitude equation and this is our phase equation. Now we have to vary omega from 0 to infinity so that we can get the values for m and phi. So omega m phi. If omega is equal to 0, my m will be 1. If omega is equal to 1 by t, my m will be 1 divided by root 2. If omega is equal to infinity, my m will be 0. I am substituting this omega value here and I am getting the values. If omega is equal to 0, my phase will be 0. Omega is equal to 1 by t, my phase will be minus 45 degrees Celsius and this will be minus 90 degrees Celsius. So this is the table column where I am getting from these two equations. So now we are going to draw a polar. I am solving using real axis and imaginary axis plot. I am not using a polar graph here. So if omega, what is my omega m 1? That is my magnitude will be 1. If my magnitude is 1, what is my phase value? 0. So the plot value will be here. So 1 by t, I can't, 1 divided by root 2. So here, if 1 divided by root 2, my angle will be minus 40. Approximately, my value will be here. And for 0, for m is equal to 0, my angle will be minus 90 degree. So 0 minus 90 degree. So my value, my graph will be like this. So this is 1, this is 0. We are plotting a graph with respect to real axis and imaginary axis. Here omega is equal to 0, this is a tail of polar plot, whereas omega is equal to infinity. This represents a head of polar plot. So this is a polar plot sketch for this transfer function. Next transfer function is g of s into h of s is equal to 1 divided by s into s plus 1 by t. So we are adding a pole to this transfer function. What is the first step we need to follow? We have to substitute s equal to j omega. is equal to j omega. If I substitute s equal to j omega, g of j omega into h of j omega, which is equal to 1 divided by j omega into 1 plus j omega into t. So my magnitude value m is equal to 1 divided by omega into square root of 1 plus omega square into t square. My phi value will be minus 90 degree minus tan inverse of omega t. So for s in the denominator, I am getting a value of minus 90. For this denominator value, I am putting minus tan inverse of omega t. So let us substitute omega from 0 to infinity and we will get the values of m, phi. For omega is equal to 0, my magnitude will be infinity. So if I substitute 0 here, 1 by 0, the value will be infinity. Whereas if I substitute 0 here, my angle will be minus 90 degree. Also, if I substitute 1 by t, my m will be t divided by root 2 minus 135 for phi value. Omega is infinity, m is equal to 0 minus 180 degree. So for different values of omega, my value will be m and infinity. Now we are sketching a plot. Now we are sketching a plot for polar plot. For this graph, if I am putting a graph for this with respect to real axis and imaginary axis, so this is my real axis, whereas this is my imaginary axis. For m infinity, so infinity will be here or here. What is my phi value? Minus 90. If it is minus 90, it will start from here. It will start from here. So for 1 by t by root 2, my angle will be minus 135 degrees Celsius. Minus 135 degrees Celsius lies here. So my root locus, sorry, my polar plot lies here. So this will be my polar plot. This is minus 90 degree, whereas this is minus 180 degree. So this is my polar sketch for this transfer function. So when you observe the previous transfer function from this transfer function, if you add a pole in a transfer function, the polar plot will shift to minus 90 degree because the polar plot is here 0 degree. If I add a pole, see, if I add a pole, my plot will shift 90 degree, minus 90 degree. So this is a typical sketch for this polar plot. So thank you.